Assalamu alaikum. Hello, we are Group 5 and today we will be presenting about the concept of money in Islam. In Islam, money is viewed as a property given to man as a blessing by Allah, and it should be used wisely in accordance to the Sharia. Money in Islam only functions as a medium in transactions and should be a means and never a goal. Money in Islam can be divided into 5 main categories: debt, concept of money, inheritance, zakat, and time value of money. In Islam, people with debt can be considered as poor and claim zakat, and that debt is an obligation that must be settled. Negative aspects of indebtedness includes stress and humiliation. When in a state of humiliation, the debtor could try to make excuses, lies, and false promises to the creditor, thus creating injustice. In other words, it is a disease to our spiritual faith. Solutions that Islam proposes include community support, avoiding financial abuse, and proper placement of the zakat system. These solutions help protect the creditors, prevent bankruptcies, and reduces debtors' burden.
The concept of money in Islam is different from conventional economics. It is because Islamic principles are based on Sharia. Money or wealth in Islam is property held by man as vicegerent of the giver. Money in Islam performs a social role and should be invested to promote socio-economic justice for the benefit of the community as a whole. Money also cannot be sold and rented out to generate extra value by itself. Money only can be exchanged for goods and services, and it cannot be exchanged directly for money unless the exchange is spontaneous. Furthermore, money cannot be lent and wait for the debtor to return the capital and excess return, which is interest. Because by doing that, it will be more or less like making money from money, which is riba, that are haram. Money in Islam can only be generated through lawful trade and investment where parties share the risks and rewards equally. Allah has permitted trade and has forbidden interest.
Inheritance and wills in Islam are defined as a set of instructions or wills that come into effect after a person's death. Will is acted upon after the payment of funeral expenses and any other outstanding debts. Inheritance will be distributed to the person as, such as children, wife, husband, mother according to Islamic law. Property that is divided and given to the beneficiaries are the remaining property left after paying the funeral expenses, debt, charity, and vows. Be justified by the Islamic law, which is not more than half of the total assets. In Islam, there are 15 male beneficiaries that are entitled to receive an inheritance, while for females, it's 10.
For zakat in Islam, zakat has 2 definitions which are purification and growth. It means to purify one's possession of wealth by distributing a certain amount to the poor. Zakat is very important in Islam because it was in the 5 pillars of Islam. The benefits of zakat are to gain pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, increase in wealth and protection from losses, Allah's forgiveness and blessings, protection from the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and from a bad death, a shelter on the day of judgment, and security from 70 misfortunes. Muslims need to perform zakat if we are in a condition that is liable to give zakat. It is because there are also consequences for the people that don't pay zakat, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, and there are those who hoard gold and silver and do not spend it in the way of Allah. Announce to them a most grievous penalty on the day of judgment. Heat will be produced out of that wealth in the fire of hell. Then, with it, they will be branded on their forehead, their flanks and backs. It will be said to them, This is the treasure which you hoard for yourself, taste than the treasure that you have been hoarding.
Time value of money, which means the value of money during present time and its future value due to potential capacity. From the Sharia perspective, the profit made by loan transactions such as bank loans, corporate bonds, government bonds and others are considered unlawful because it involves riba. While for sale transactions like murabahah, the profit made is considered as lawful and permissible because it approved by most of Muslim scholars. There are issues regarding the time value of money in Islamic finance. First, the pricing of Islamic financial product that is based on the discount rate that is used to calculate the fair value for the asset. Second is choosing between the two accounting standards which are IFRS and AOIFI.